In the turbulent years of 1967 to 1970, a nation was torn apart by strife as the Nigerian Civil War, also known as the Nigerian-Biafran War, etched its marks in the annals of history. The Civil War pitted Nigeria, led by General Yakubu Gowon, against the Republic of Biafra under the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu. Biafra's struggle was a reflection of the aspirations of the Igbo ethnic group, who believed they could no longer coexist within a federal government dominated by the interests of the Muslim Hausa Fulanis of northern Nigeria. The roots of this conflict trace back to the complex web of political, economic, ethnic, cultural, and religious tensions that simmered even before Nigeria's formal decolonization from the United Kingdom between 1960 and 1963. 1966 marked a turning point with a military coup, a counter-coup, and tragic anti-Igbo problems in northern Nigeria. The battle for control over the lucrative oil production in the Niger Delta region played a pivotal role in the conflict. Notably, French support for Biafra was significant due to this strategic interest. As the war reached on, Nigerian government troops closed in on Biafra, capturing crucial coastal oil facilities and the city of Port Harcourt. A devastating blockade was imposed, leading to the heart-wrenching mass starvation of Biafran civilians. Over 2.5 years, the war exerted a heavy toll with approximately 100,000 military casualties, but the most tragic cost was borne by Biafran civilians, which estimates ranging between 500,000 and 2 million lives lost to the starvation. Notably, the Nigerian Civil War and the concurrent Vietnam War were among the first conflicts in human history to be televised to a global audience. In mid-1968, haunting images of malnourished and starving Biafran children filled the screens in Western countries, stirring the hearts of many. This war's response was immediate, leading to a surge in funding and support for international non-governmental organizations. The Biafran airlift, in particular, captured international attention and inspired the founding of Doctors Without Borders after the war's end. While the United Kingdom and the Soviet Union backed the Nigerian government, France, Israel, post-1968, and a few other nations supported Biafra. The United States maintained an official position of neutrality, but for some, the refusal to recognize Biafra felt like favoring the Nigerian government. The Nigerian Civil War, in addition to its immediate human toll, exposed early flaws in the concept of Pan-Africanism and revealed the challenges of finding common unity within Africa's diverse people. Furthermore, it led to the political marginalization of the Igbo people, who have not seen another Igbo president in Nigeria since the war's end. Today, the legacy of the war endures in the form of Igbo nationalism and various neo-Biafran successionist groups. The scars of the Nigerian Civil War, both physical and political, serve as a poignant reminder of the complexity of unity and a vision within the diverse tapestry of Africa.
The Civil War.
Within the geographical zone of Nigeria as a country, you have two entities fighting against each other, and that's why we refer to it as Nigerian Civil War. It's not a war between Nigeria and another entity, which is another country, so that's why. And other names that we call them is internecine war, or we call them fratricidal war. Are you getting it? So that is it. So the Nigerian Civil War actually broke out in 1967, lasted up to 19 Nigerian Civil War, we have remote causes for it and we have the immediate cause for it. Are you getting it? Yes. The remote causes for it could be looked at from the political angle. Are you getting it now? Look at from social angles and could also be looked at from ethnic-religious perception. So when you look at Nigerian Civil War, actually the origin of it was not that 1967 size. There have been series of crises in the political realm in Nigeria prior to that eventual outbreak of the Nigerian Civil War. We have had the Western region crisis where we have the Operation Wete in the Western region, and that was as a result of political. That by that you have the Western region. The premier of the Western region, which was originally Chief of Army Adeola, decided to contest for the presidency of the nation to become the prime minister of the country. But along the line, he lost out in that contest. And when he was leaving the position of, when he wanted to contest, he had to allow his deputy, which was Akintola, to be the premier of the Western region at that level. So when Baba left for that contest, he lost at that contest, and as a result of that, lost, he had to come back and he wanted to become the premier again, which the person that was sitting on the seat was not comfortable with. Are you getting it? So that created a lot of crisis in the Western region, to the extent that the crisis in the Western region now partitioned the political party, the reigning political party in the Western region, which was the Action Group, now partitioned it into group. Akintola now created another party, which is known as NDP, and it was on the basis of that party that it was splitting the Western region. But the Action Group people did not agree, because that was a party that was popular in the Western region.
If civil war comes, and I do think it is imminent, you're quite right, it will for us be the price for freedom. Our people here have for a long time been prepared for this eventuality, and I am confident of their readiness. I think that when it does come, that the people on the other side would be surprised as to what they're going to get. And I'm confident that it will not last long. I can't say for certain what Lagos has got. When we lost direct contact with Lagos, they had some 4 battalions, ill-equipped, and I know that they have been purchasing a lot of arms since, and I know that they have negotiated and received a few armored vehicles. Prior to that, they had some scout cars. I know they have tried to get planes. I am not sure they have got them there. But on our side, we too have not been sitting quietly. There has been quite a lot of build-up. And I think what I have here is sufficient to maintain the integrity of Biafra and more.
Yeah, we are African countries. The African countries who gave support to the Biafran during the Civil War. I also mentioned that it was because of the propaganda been put forward by the Biafrans that the war was between the Christians and the Muslims, and that it was an attempt to annihilate the Christians away. So that gave sympathy. It gave sympathy to the Biafrans outside. Remember that the war was between the Nigerian military and the Biafrans, who were part and parcel of the Nigerian government, part of Nigeria, but have seceded during that time. So there were sympathy for the Biafrans then. To the extent that I also mentioned that, to the extent that part of those that fought the war for the Biafrans, who have a sympathy for the Biafrans then, was also a Swedish pilot who, in fact, did some air raids for the Biafrans during that time. But eventually he was captured and was sent back to his country. Then, other African countries like Tanzania and other countries, they also showed sympathy for the Biafrans. And then there were relief materials which was flown in the aircraft to the Biafrans. That's another part. Then there was also the mercenary involvement. Some mercenaries were used during the war. Those mercenaries, they fought on the side of the Biafrans. But at the end of the day, the military government or national government won the war. France has always been an ally to the cause of the Biafrans during the Nigerian Civil War. And even some of the French nationals were used as as Red Cross, to assist the wounded soldiers and the Biafrans. So we can see that the France showed more concern. They showed concern for the plight of the Biafrans during the war. The Biafrans, people, the children, the young ones to adults, they actually suffered during the war. Especially when suffer from starvation.
We are starving since 3 days now. I haven't taken anything.
You are hungry? We are hungry.
Very, very. Even my children.
And secondly, was the issue of when Oluwatimileyin, who was the finance minister, changed Nigeria's currency. Changed Nigerian currency. So it rendered the money of the Biafrans useless.
Biafran money, when we give them, they say no. The Biafran money is of no use.
It's unused.
Because of the supply to the Biafrans. So, and there was nowhere again food materials could get to the Biafrans. And so there was much more problem for the Biafrans. There was starvation, there were diseases like Pachoko, all kinds of things. Hardship were suffered by the Biafrans. And that's why they have large number of death tolls during the war. Coupled with that, the Biafrans had no war equipment to match with the federal military troops, plus the hardship that was going on. No food, no means of supply of food. The federal troops are going to cut off the means of supply, and it led to hardship of the Biafrans. And there were many death tolls who died of diseases or like Kwashiorkor, which is the main disease there.
One thing I've noticed, Premier, while I've been here, is that Northerners seem to have, I might almost call it, obsession about the Igbos. Could you perhaps explain that to me?
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on. Well, in the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities, because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. Then I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the north solely with northerners and not with other Nigerians a temporary or a permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a northerner first. If you can't get a northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract. If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
Doesn't this damage the idea, sir, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fellow citizens of one country?
Well, it might, but you are, new to our region, but how many northerners are employed in the east or in the west? The answer is no. And if there are, there may be 10 laborers employed only in the two regions.
As far as I'm concerned, there are so many factors, okay, that led to the civil war. But I will be specific about the political aspects. One thing that led to the civil war was, number one, the fact that there were some issues relating to relationship amongst ethnic groups in Nigeria. That can be ethnic, it can be political. And you discover that immediately when that issue started, the head of state of that time, General Yakubu Gowon, decided to have a federal system, okay, and he created states out of Nigerian region. So you had some states that were created, and he called some of them Western region states, some Eastern region, some Northern region. But the mistake he made, which wasn't a mistake, was that he now made Colonel Odumegwu Ojukwu, Emeka Ojukwu, the governor of the Eastern region. Now, what you call the Eastern region preponderantly was made up of Igbo people. And the Igbos were the one that had suffered politically before 1967, especially after 1966 coup. Because of what all the Igbos had suffered, and he has been calling them to come home so that they would be free from all the troubles and persecutions that they have been facing. That was on one hand. On the other hand was that there was creation of the Eastern region, and he was made the regional governor. So he used that as opportunity, and he told his other Igbo leaders and people that he was going to secede. What do I mean by secede? He was going to take that region, the Eastern region. He would take them out of the Nigerian state. And taking them out of the Nigerian state is what you call secession. Secession means removing that part of the region away from Nigeria. And now, when you do that kind of a thing in a political system, it is a crime against the sovereignty of that state. So the head of state of Nigeria then, same Colonel Yakubu Gowon, said no, that could not happen. You're a part and parcel of Nigeria. There was no way any part of Nigeria could secede and be on their own. And Ojukwu said, no, we are going to continue. We'll go on our own and what have you. Now, what was the Civil War? The Civil War was the resolution of the eastern part of Nigeria to say that they want to secede, and the refusal of the Nigerian government to say that they would not secede. So both of them had to fight one another. So there is a division. You call the Nigerian government the federal government. You call the Igbo government the Biafran government. Because from what they said they were going to secede and give their nation a name. And the name they were to give was the Biafran state, the Biafran nation. So all of this went on from May 1967 and intended in January 1970.
The so-called rising sun of Biafra is set forever. It will be a great disservice for anyone to continue to use the word Biafra to refer to any part of the East Central state of Nigeria. The tragic chapter of violence is just ended. We are at the dawn of national reconciliation. Once again, we have an opportunity to build a new nation. You will have heard that my government may seek the assistance of friendly foreign governments and bodies, especially in the provision of equipment to supplement our national effort. There are, however, a number of foreign governments and organizations whose so-called assistance will not be welcome. These are the governments and organizations which sustained the rebellion. They are thus guilty of the blood of thousands who perished because of the prolongation of the futile resistance. They did not act out of love for humanity.